Coming off for a week 1 loss in the MDA, we're taking on QSN for our second game against the Texas Toadscrolls, where your Wagamama Highway Quazes are going to be going for a win. If you guys enjoy this Draft League content, want to see some more doubles Draft League on the channel, make sure you guys consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing for more. We're going to aim for 35 likes today. We've consistently been breaking like goals, so we're going to up it yet again. 35 is the goal for today. Also, consider becoming a channel member, where for just a couple dollars a month, you guys can get some nice bonus live team builders, where you can see the full team process in depth as it happens. But with that said, let's get into the quick summary of what we did end up bringing against QSN. So for our team against QSN, my opponent's draft consists of Ninetales, Hisui Lilligant, Hisui Typhlosion, Walking Wake, Scyther, Luxray, Colossal, and Shocks, with the Tera Pokemon being Hisui Lilligant and Shocks. And very first on our team, we do have none other than Golduck making her debut appearance. This Golduck's going to be a Focus Sash set with Icy Wind, Soak, Hydro Pump, and Protect. With enough speed, so that way then I can make sure that I can outpace most common relevant Pokemon on my opponent's team, all the way up to Luxray even, which should be pretty important. With the Soak ability, of course, we can make sure that my opponents are weaker to Grassy Glide from Rillaboom, making that a very strong win con for us, as well as with Icy Wind being a great form of speed control here. Overall, Golduck with Cloud9 as well is great to mitigate my opponent's Sun, which should hopefully help with lowering the damage output from Pokemon like Walking Wake and Hisui Typhlosion, but most importantly, none other than Booster Special Attack, Photosynthesis, Shocks, which would absolutely destroy my team without this Golduck set. Moving on, we do have Rillaboom, which is going to be carrying a Tera Dragon today with an Assault Vest moveset, with Grassy Glide, Woodhammer, Fake Out, and Knockoff. With the Grassy Glide and the Woodhammer, this should be helping against any sort of 20 HP or 20 Phys Def Walking Wake, which would essentially be designed to try and take advantage of as much bulk as possible, while still getting a high special attack stat, and then speed creeping down to my Iron Jugulus, while still getting that speed boost. This was essentially a nice catch-all to any sort of practical Walking Wake that I think my opponent could bring, while still guaranteeing the KO even after terrain recovery. Overall, the Tera Dragon should also help with any sort of fire attacks from Pokemon like Typhlosion and Walking Wake, and it makes this into a very terrifying defensive threat. Speaking of Tera Dragon, we do have our other Tera Pokemon of this matchup, being none other than Tera Dragon Gholdengo with a Choice Specs moveset. We have Shadow Ball, Make It Rain, Power Gem, and Tera Blast, with Tera Blast Dragon, of course, being most important for Walking Wake here. With our Spadef and HP, we should be able to take on any sort of Walking Wake up to a Life Orb spread, even if it's going for Sun Boosted Steam Eruption. And then with the rest of our investment, we lean into Special Attack, because this should be pretty important. This also helps a lot with any sort of Specs Typhlosion going for Eruption from full, making sure that we can confidently take that hit as well, since Gholdengo will be a very important win con against my opponent's team, and in my opinion, it's going to be the star of the show today. Up next, we do have a Trick Room setter with Diancie, with Trick Room, Protect, Diamond Storm, and Misty Explosion. I'm leaning into the Phys Def to help with Pokemon like Hisui Lilligant, as well as for Scyther even, which are at least decent threats, and I do expect both to come. Meanwhile, with the Spadef investment, we just have our 4 remaining EVs left over here, and a Shuca Berry, which should help a lot with Shocks, since with the Shuca Berry, I can guarantee Trick Room against it, unless it's going for a move such as Flash Cannon here. Moving on, we do have Iron Hands, which is going to be rocking the Citrus Berry moveset with Swords Dance, Ice Punch, Drain Punch, and Detect. With our 136 physical attack, we should be able to take on most of my opponent's team, especially with a +2 attack, and then Drain Punch and Ice Punch hits everything that I think practically could come for really strong damage here, with the exception of Hisui Typhlosion, which does have a nice dual typing that can happen to resist this well. Though I have so many other strong counterplay options to this, such as my Rillaboom and Gholdengo, as well as Diancie, which can comfortably take hits from this, that I'm not really too concerned with the Hisui Typhlosion here. Overall, this should be a really strong offensive piece, and it should be able to destroy my opponent. Finally, we do have Glaceon, which is going to be a Life Orb Glaceon with Freeze Dry, Mud Shot, Shadow Ball, and Protect. With our special attack being invested so then we can take on Pokemon like Hisui Typhlosion, as well as Colossal for as much damage as possible with our coverage options, being Shadow Ball for Typhlosion and Mud Shot for the Colossal, with the rest of the team being fairly weak to Freeze Dry here. With our Spadef investment, this should help with taking hits from Shocks as well as possible, with the remaining 8 EVs going straight into our Phys Def here. I should have probably went with 72 in our HP in hindsight, but overall, we should still be pretty fine against my opponent, and I don't think the Life Orb number inaccuracy will really come into play too often. The Ronald's going to be on screen in case you want to try this at home. Again, not going to be usable on the ranked ladder, just like last week's team. And with that said, let's get right into the battle. All right, and we're here for game number 3, which should be perfectly fine. Oops, I gotta unmute my capture card audio. There we go. Game number 3, guys. Well, actually, no, game number 1 of my week 2. Oh my god, I'm mixing this up so badly. I'm so sorry. But looking at this team, it's Tera Steel, Shocks, Tera Fire, Hisui again. No Scyther, which really fucking shocks me. I thought that was a really good Rillaboom check this game, but I guess that's why they have Steel Shocks. Perfectly fine not running into Tera Fire Shocks. Tera Steel, truthfully, is going to be so much easier to manage because that's like a really not great typing against most of my mons. I think realistically, I gotta pull up my fucking team. Because I'm already figured out my build, because I'm mixing up on my team versus Cherry, which I played right before this. Perfect, okay. Yeah, I think I just lead off with Gholdengo and DNC. I know I was talking over with Calvin about this, and I think I agree that is like my best lead. I think I'm gonna bench Rillaboom, and I'm gonna bench Golduck game 1. I think they're both fine mons. I just think I'm gonna bench them and see how hard my opponent leads into Sun, specifically as like a lead, because if they're gonna go with like Lily Tails on lead, I think that Golduck in the back could be a good option. I just don't know if they're gonna lead it, and I think they'll opt for more offensive Pokemon turn 1. So I think I'd rather do that. Plus, there's no guarantee anyway that the Lilligant is gonna be Chlorophyll. Sandy Shock's Coal. Okay, see, much safer for me. Okay, so I will say with Sandy Shock's Coal, there is a little bit of a concern since I do now need to respect the Coal, which is kind of silly. Now, does Shocks get a water move or a fire move? Sandy Shocks. Water, no. Fire, no. Sunny Day, okay, that's fine. Both are honestly okay. I think I just go for I feel like I just go for Make It Rain against these. Like, I'm not really too concerned. Well, actually, I think I just go for Shadow Ball. I'll go for Tera Dragon Shadow Ball just to take on the Gholdengo a bit, on the Sandy Shocks a bit better with my Gholdengo. And then I think I go for Trick Room here. Now, I know that Cole is going to underpace my team. I'm very fine with that. I don't really have concerns over Cole underpacing my team. Because realistically, the Shocks should do pretty weak damage with Terra Steel. It doesn't get actual coverage out of that. So its coverage is essentially linked to Flash Cannon, Earth Power, and like an electric move. Which I guess, to be fair, Terra Steel against DNC could be kind of scary with Flash Cannon. But they're going to Volt Switch anyway. Okay, perfect. That's honestly best case scenario. Literal best case scenario. Because I Shadow Balled into that spot too. So whatever is coming in is going to take a huge fucking Shadow Ball. And then meanwhile, Cole isn't going to do a lot of damage to me. My guess is that they're going to go for like an Explosion here and then try and bring in Sun. I think that's a viable play. They're going to go into Lilligant. Okay, so they're not going for Explosion. I thought it might have happened with like a Typhlosion partner, but perfect. We're breaking Sash, and then I'll underpace in the following turn, which is great. Because DNC can Diamond Storm, and then I can just go right through the Cold. They're going to Scald. Perfectly fine. Very fine play, in fact, because that doesn't really damage me, and Cold cannot damage me. It's kind of just weak. Perfect. Okay. So I have the option of Diamond Storm, which I think is very viable. Let me just make sure that it doesn't miss. I'm fairly certain it doesn't, but I do need to verify this. Because unironically, I don't know. 95. Fuck it, we ball. Yeah, we're gonna go for Spec Shadow Ball into the Coal, and then I'm gonna go for Diamond Storm here. I could go for Misty Explosion. I don't really want to just yet. I want Coal gone before I do that, because there's no use in bringing in either Iron Hands when it can get Skull Burned, or also the Glaceon when it's a Colossal. It could be running Mixed, and Rock Slide could kind of be a bitch. So there's no reason to bring in either. Not until I scout. They're gonna go for Hex. Okay, perfectly fine. We take that pretty comfortably, actually. No Babiri even, so that's just a really comfortably taken hit. So DNC killed the Lilligant. That was probably the thing I was the most scared of, and it just gone. Perfectly fine. And then meanwhile, Cole's gonna take a Spec Shadow Ball here, which works out really well for me. So this should be able to clean pretty well. Now, Cole is still a little bit of a threat, but not really either. Like, I can just Shadow Ball that on the following turn pretty easily, and then just go for a Protect on DNC. I could even just go for Misty Explosion, in all honesty, and just let my opponent kill me, and then bring in anything else and go for Protect on Gholdengo. Actually, I can't go for Protect on Specs. I would need to double, but I'm still fine with that. I don't mind doing that. Maybe I do. I actually mind that a little bit, I can't lie. Yeah, I'm not going to pop Misty Explosion, I don't think, because I think it's a little risky, and I don't have a safe switch in. It'd be one thing if I already had hands in the field, but I don't really feel the need to try and play around as if that's an option. Yeah, okay. So I just go for the Shadow Ball into Shocks, and then I just go for Diamond Storm here. If my opponent kills DNC, so be it. I don't really care because the Mon is fine to die. And if they're really dedicating resources to that, so be it, because that just means that Shocks is going to get a free hit. They're going to go for Terra Steel anyway, which is very okay. I'm very fine with Terra Steel Shocks. Because again, it doesn't offer any defensive prowess against my team. Like, the best thing this offers, I guess, is the fact that it keeps a Make It Rain resist, and that it's, again, the Glide immunity, and the Glide resistance is really the big thing here. But I think there were better types. Perfectly fine, okay. Diamond Storm will pop. That should be enough to kill Cole at this point, which is perfect. Okay, Cole's gone. So that is now the slowest Mon that my opponent has off the field. And DNC now gets another defense boost, which doesn't really matter. Both physical Mons died, so I'm okay with this. So perfect. So Sandy Shocks is gonna Flash Cannon into something that's probably gonna be Gholdengo in all honesty. I feel like that's the threatening target here. No, Diancie, okay. Best case scenario, in my opinion. Because now I just bring in Iron Hands. And Iron Hands goes hard. I could also bring in, actually no, I don't go into Iron Hands. Because no matter what, my play is actually going into Glaceon. Because Glaceon kicks teeth in. Walking Wake, best case scenario. Fucking best case scenario. I go for Freeze Dry into that. I go for Freeze Dry right into that. And then I go for Shadow Ball into it too, just in case. Because Wake actually could be a threat to my team. Actually, no. I go for Shadow Ball into Shocks. That's the real threat here. And frankly, if this is Yachi Berry, that's great information to pop. But even still, there's no real reason to try and play around the Walking Wake in my opinion, because Wake isn't that scary. Freeze Dry pops here. There's no Yachi Berry, so Wake is just dead. Perfectly fine. So Wake died. And then it's just Sandy Shocks, which I can very comfortably take on. If Sandy Shocks cannot kill both my Pokemon, and my Glaceon is meant to be a check for this. So even with the Tera Steel Flash Cannon, that's scary, but it's not that scary. Perfectly fine. Dead Mon. Okay, so game 1 was ours. That went a little too well, I can't lie. In game number 2, I do need to be careful because there's a lot that could maybe go wrong for me in game number 2. For example, the Sun Core. I think that Lily Tails could be kind of threatening, and I feel like I need to adapt around my opponent. At the same time, though, I mean, honestly, but no, Gholdengo was a huge immunity to most of these mons. Why do I need to adapt? I could honestly, really the only lead that might actually put pressure on me would be Walking Wake Ninetales, which might lead, I guess. That would put pressure on me. That would put a lot of pressure on me, actually. I would need to double if they do that, but I think I'm kind of okay with this. I'm very okay with making that double, actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, because I just go into Golduck. They didn't bring their Sun route, but I still think I bring Golduck anyway this game. Specifically because I feel like that's the adaptation that my opponent takes, considering how they led last game. So, I am going to go with, let me see, what was my Rillaboom set again? It's AV. AV Rillaboom could go kind of hard here. Looking at what they led last time, I could, no, because I don't have a ground move. Fuck, okay. Kind of wishing I brought the ground move, but I really thought Scyther would come. So, no ground move on Rillaboom actually really hurts me. It makes them on kind of useless here. Specifically because they brought Cole over Scyther, which was so fucking good on my team. But I can get it. I mean, Cole has a place. It's at least an anti-trick route for them. Okay. So, I didn't reveal a 4th, which is really good for me. They didn't bring either of their really big Sunbreakers, which I'm fine with. Typhlosion doesn't have a great matchup here, in all honesty, with the team I brought. Okay. So, I think that I go with... I feel like I go with... honestly, Rillaboom and Diancie could go kind of hard, and then I just go for a Trick Room route with Gholdengo, and then I think Glaceon. Because again, Glaceon does a lot of damage here. I could also go with Hands, though. I think I'm going to go with Hands. I feel like Hands is just the safer option, since I can Sword Dance on a lot of these mons. It's really just the Shocks. I think I'll do that. That should work out fine. Realistically, let's see. So the Lilligant Tera isn't too bad, and neither is the Sandy Shocks Tera. I think both Teras are pretty fine for my team to handle, actually. Okay. So good luck and fun to my opponent. The Sun is really still kind of scary, but I feel like I have options now. Ninetales Walking Wake, perfect. Called the adaptation perfectly. Okay, so I do have a few options now. I could go for Golduck. Golduck would help a lot with Diancie taking hits. I could also go just right into my... I could go right into my Golduck here. Or I can go for Fake Out. Like, either one works really well. There's Speed Boosting Wake. Good to know. Okay. Perfect. So that helps a lot with damage, knowing that they are only speed boosting. That's a very weak Walking Wake now. I think that I go for... No, I didn't bring Gholdengo. Oh, no, Golduck, right. I ditched that. Okay, then I have to Fake Out. I have to Fake Out the Wake, and then I have to go... I have to also... I think I have to pop Tera Dragon on this. No, I don't actually have to. Because losing Rillaboom isn't the biggest deal. I think losing Diancie would be way scarier, in all honesty. So I think I just go for the Fake Out. If they're Covert Cloak, so be it. I don't... Like, it's good information for Game 3, and it means that I never bring Rillaboom in Game 3. So I'm pretty okay with that. If they go for Protect as well, it's fine. I could go for Misty Explosion very comfortably into that. And then just go for like a knockoff into Ninetales because Ninetales isn't a huge threat. We go for Fake Out. Are they Covert Cloak? Are they Covert Cloak? Wake Flinch. Not Covert Cloak. Perfect. And they're going to go for Foul Play. Foul Play is very fun. I don't really mind Foul Play. That's pretty bad. I can get why, actually, they brought it, to be fair. It's weirdly enough, actually, I can kind of get why they brought it into my team. Especially for, like, the random Tera defensive mons against the Sun route. Like Tera Dragon, for example, actually is probably Ninetales' best way to hit me. Oh, yeah, I can get it. We're going to go for Wood Hammer, though, and I'm going to go for Diamond Storm. And that should actually probably kill the Wake. I can't imagine Wake would take that at all. But we just kind of go for damage here. Again, my Rillaboom going down isn't a huge deal. I think I position for Gholdengo endgame in every scenario. Because Gholdengo just does a lot more damage, and it's great for Lilligant, for example, as well. Perfect. I think that should be range of Wood Hammer, actually. Will-O-Wisp, not a huge deal. Again, Rillaboom just becomes a little bit more fodder here, but frankly, DNC is also still really good in my opponent. So I think I just go for this. This Wood Hammer should still do about 35. It's actually not bad. It's a little more than I expected, even. I might have gotten a high roll, I can't lie, but again, I'm fine with that. We do lose Wake. It's okay. Gholdengo can come in now, though, and Gholdengo just goes for... I think we just go for Diamond Storm and make it rain. Or, actually, no, we just go for Diamond Storm and Shadow Ball. Yeah, I just go for... Or, actually, no, I go for Diamond Storm and Power Gem, I think. Yeah, so I go for Tera Dragon here. I go for Diamond Storm and Power Gem. Actually, no, I go for Shadow Ball. Yeah, I go for Shadow Ball. I do go for Tera Dragon always, though, just to help with Wake fire moves. Yeah, that should be the play. That should always be the play. I only lose this if I miss Diamond Storm into Wake, but I'm okay with that. Like I just need to kill. I just need to kill. And I feel confident I can get it. I feel very confident I can get it. Wake would also need to predict me, to be fair, and it is speed boosting. It is speed boosting, which is good information, because that means that Wake actually... I don't think Wake can kill me. Yeah, I'm pretty certain the Wake cannot kill me. Walking Wake. 282, 282. Adamant Nature. Gholdengo. Let's pull up the calcs. They're going to go for Protect on Ninetales. Okay, perfectly fine. I still think that we can kill the Wake, so I'm not too concerned here. But just in case they predicted and went for like a Draco, that actually does not kill. That very comfortably does not kill. So even if Wake does take the hit, which it does not, so Wake is gone. Perfect. Okay, so we know that Wake is Flamethrower and it did die. And then Ninetales is still alive, but I'm okay with that. Because Gholdengo just goes hard. Like, it's fucking Gholdengo. We do need to figure out what their last two mons are, though. But that shouldn't be a huge deal. Realistically, either way, the last two mons are not a huge issue for us. Because Ninetales isn't that big of a threat. It's Will-O-Wisp and Foul Play, which is perfectly fine. It probably has, like, Flamethrower or something. I couldn't imagine it doesn't have Flamethrower. Lilligant comes in. Okay, perfect. So then, yeah, I just go for Diamond Storm and I go for Shadow Ball. And I let Lilligant live. I target the Ninetales. Ninetales is unironically kind of scarier because it can potentially just burn through my... It can burn my DNC for one, which actually it might even become my win con. But more importantly, too, it could burn my Iron Hands, which is a big deal. Grassy Glide. Perfect. I fucking chew that. I love the Fizz Death on this. Yeah, so we just Massacre. And then Ninetales is gone. I will say, Grassy Glide is kind of interesting. I do fuck with it, but it just makes my job easier. And it's good information for Game 3 if it comes to that, which is fine. Perfect. Grassy Glide. And we know that this is also a Game 2 back. They do still have Tera, which, I mean, it makes sense why they didn't proc it, in all honesty. I might try and bait them to proc it, though. Sandy Shock's okay, perfect. So, at this point, I think... So, let's see. So, Misty Explosion. No, Misty Explosion is viable here. I think I always just target the Lilligant. Because... Actually, no, I always target the Shocks. I think Shocks is probably going to be, like, a spec set anyway, in all honesty. How many turns of Trick Room are left? One turn of Trick Room, okay. I go for Diamond Storm. I could go for Misty Explosion too, to be fair, but I think they're gonna... If they have the ability to, they're gonna go for Dual Protect. Grassy Glide is off. Okay, perfect. We chew that comfortably yet again. And then Diamond Storm pops. This should do some okay damage. It's not gonna do great damage, but it's gonna do okay damage. And again, I don't really want to kill my Gholdengo here because I'm Tera Dragon. But hands should go hard. Hands should go super hard. Perfect, okay. So Flash Cannon goes off. It's gonna kill the Yancy, which I'm fine with. Perfect, okay. So that's fine. They do still have Tera as an option, but I'm not too concerned. They are gonna burn through Trick Room, which is fine. I should still be able to manage. Okay. So Grassy Terrain also disappeared, which means they lose priority, but frankly, that Monosaur is outpacing us anyway. Okay, so with the sun up, that Sandy Shocks is kind of a threat. I go for Shadow Ball immediately into Shocks, and then I think I go for a Detect on Iron Hands. Specifically because, actually, hold on. So Shocks should die, right? Sandy Shocks. Oof, okay, yeah, I might not die. So there's kind of an issue of, how much is Iron Hands taking Earth Power? Iron Hands with Sun Up. So if it's special attack boost, that should kill, like that guarantee kills. But the issue being as well is like, so we haven't seen Life Orb. So best it could be Expert Belt. And Expert Belt actually is a roll, to be fair. I think I just go for Ice Punch into Lilligant. I'm gonna try and claim my kill. Because Expert Belt would mean that it doesn't do enough damage to me. Same as like an Earth Plate. Again, it won't do enough damage to my Gholdengo. They're gonna go for Grassy Glide into that perfectly fine. Okay. So Sandy Shocks is gonna go for Earth Power into Gholdengo. Perfect. Okay, we chew that very comfortably. Shadow Ball will go off. Shocks cannot kill both my Pokemon. That's a very weak Shocks, by the way. Like, it's super weak Shocks. We kill Shocks anyway. Perfect. And then I Ice Punched into the Lilligant, which does get me the game. That gets me the game. Thank God. I called that prediction perfectly, actually. Which works out really well. Because, again, that could have been a really scary scenario where my opponent could have, in theory, if I didn't make that call right, bullied my team very confidently. But thankfully, though, we do pull through. Gholdengo fucking clutched. I'm really glad that I listened to Calvin, because that was almost Jugulus. And Calvin kind of talked me out of it. He was, like, literally just bring Gholdengo, because you could lead it with dancing pretty comfortably. It should massacre both games, and the Tera Dragon will go hard. And I was thinking to myself, you know, Jugulus is, like, my way that Golduck is kind of viable here, because I can bring Jugulus Golduck. That gives me an anti-sun mode for one, and it gives me a Tailwind option in case I need to match. And with Golduck, I can even outpace Lilligant, and I'm perfectly fine. But I'm really glad that I did not break Jugulus, because I think that Gholdengo was a lot safer, and I think it ultimately gave me like an actual genuine way to win this game. So good game to QSN. Honestly, really incredible set of games. Very unfortunate, I guess, Gholdengo matchup, which just went way harder than I thought it would. I'm very glad I did not use Gholdengo in my week 1 thumbnail, because Tera Dragon Gholdengo will go so hard as a thumbnail mod in week 2. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this game against QSN. Make sure, of course, if you do enjoy this and you want to see some more draft content on the channel, leave a like below and subscribe for more. Also, consider becoming a channel member, because for just a couple dollars a month, you guys can get some nice bonus live team builders, where I'll be able to go over my whole process for you guys in terms of how I come to the teams, really any sort of changes that come, and everything in between. Our current channel members are going to be Zeke Zero, Mia, Timo Mueller, Rao Sakura, Obo, Johanna Speed, Double, Endless Gadgets, Ben Bambi, Josh K Ultra Player, and Incog, who get not only the bonus live builders, but they also get bonus members videos twice a month. So again, consider becoming a channel member, or even if you just want to subscribe for more. We have plenty of content coming to you guys. While I can't necessarily promise daily, I think my track record has proven not daily, it's at least frequent enough to where you guys can get plenty of a competitive Mons fill, whether that's VGC Ladder or any sort of draft games that are coming once a week through the MDA. With that said, I will see you guys for a week 3 game where we're taking on Sherry, who is an incredible player and who I've known for years. So I'm really looking forward to playing that game against Sherry. But until then, peace out, guys.